Hi, this is Aliki from the Healthy Gut Expert Summit, and today we're going to share a little bit more about how you can heal your digestion naturally. And today I'm enthused to introduce you to Dr. Shel Lalji. Welcome, Dr. Shel.
Great to be here, Leaky.
I'm super enthused about this topic.
Yeah,
Healthy gut leading to healthy hormones, and your specialization with women.
yeah,
And if I may, to you listening, tuning in, or watching, please have a note, pen and paper handy, because I assure you, you're going to get a lot of tips here and ideas you can actually put to practice easily. Now, what I'd love to do is introduce you to Dr. Shel, if I may. She's a wellness and vitality expert, and she helps her patients regain their health balance so they can look and feel their best. She's also a board certified OBGYN as well, and therefore her abilities to help you masterfully restore hormone balance is where she also introduces this patient-specific nutritional supplementation. There's also a healthy GI system helping you reduce stress and reversing the sign of aging through
right.
complete. Yes, please. And the complete approach to inner and outer wellness. And, that's something that's really interesting to me in my 40s. And I'm sure a lot of women here listening, because the whole way you approach this is what I really want to dive into. So with that being said, you may also have heard of Dr. Shel. She's the author of a beautiful book called I Am Woman. It's about our journeys to health, happiness, and harmony, which in my humble opinion should be the actual state of every woman. And she's a highly sought after speaker and trainer who focuses on also not only educating physicians and other practitioners across the world, but also treating patients. And she's got her own practice and several others that support her in that. And her passion, which is what I love, has always been in women's health. And it's evident because she's quite inspiring. She's sourced after nationwide for speaking, media, and appearances. And also her belief, like mine, is that women deserve to achieve their goals for complete mind, body, and spirit balance in their lives. So with that being said, I'm just going to hand it over to you because I want to know everything you know. But look, it's such an honor to meet with you and talk to you about this. Please help us understand a little bit about how you came about your practice and the systems that have really helped a lot of women.
Absolutely. So, Aliki, I feel like this is something that is my own privilege to be able to help women. And I've been honored to be able to help hundreds of thousands of women over the span of the last 20 some years. I started off in my field as a traditional OBGYN. So as you can imagine, delivering babies, taking care of women, doing hysterectomies, surgeries, all that kind of stuff, and really taking them through a traditional route as far as their journey, excuse me, in women's health. And what I found that was very inspiring and it was very satisfying. However, there was a piece missing. And the piece missing is when we're in traditional medicine, we tend to look at just the symptoms and the disease processes and trying to figure out what is going on with the individual by just looking at lab slips and looking at results. And I found that there was a disconnect between the patient and the person, right? So you really have to look at the person as somebody who has stressors and what is the root cause of why they are either depressed or anxious or can't sleep or gaining weight or irritable or don't have any sexual desire, they don't have any libido. Why are these things happening? What is the root cause of why these things are happening? And the wake-up call was when I had my second child, my son Zaid. He's now 14. And right after I had him, I had gone in to see my gynecologist because I wasn't feeling like myself. My moods were off. I wasn't sleeping well. I wasn't losing my weight. I was losing hair instead of weight. And so I decided, let me go check this out because I know it's my hormones that they're off. And the surprising thing and the disappointing thing, Aliki, was I was, even as an OB-GYN, and this, my gynecologist was a friend of mine, I was essentially told, well, Shel, this is just postpartum stuff, and you just need a couple of medications, and this will get better, right? So I was actually sent away from the office with 2 prescriptions, one of antidepressant and one of a sleeping pill.
Wow.
And I realized that day, and I made a commitment that I will not let other women go through the same process again, because I knew I was not deficient in antidepressants. I wasn't deficient in a sleeping pill. I was deficient in hormones, right? And I was imbalanced. And what is the root cause of why I was feeling all of those symptoms? That was not being addressed. So what I always say to my female patients is be your own advocate. Make sure you understand your body, you know what your body needs, why it's doing certain things, which hormones should you be focusing on, what all can be imbalanced, and how to fix it. And once you know that, find a practitioner who will help you do exactly that. And what's really important is women, unfortunately, we trust our physicians as we should. And I am a physician, so of course I would love to be trusted. But I always say that we have to earn our patients' trust. We have to be their advocate, and we have to look at the entire person rather than one specific symptom and just try to treat it with a medication. So as an example, you're doing the Gut Health Summit. This is one of my favorite topics because the gut and the hormonal balancing is intricately related. And the reason is because gut health and the gut bacteria are some of the most overlooked elements of hormonal balance, including if you are looking at menopause, thyroid issues, estrogen dominance, so on and so forth. When we talk about hormones, we talk about endocrine glands, right? So now we know that the microbiome is actually considered an endocrine organ. And it really is a very powerful place that produces hormones such as serotonin, melatonin. Those are important things that actually get produced in the gut. So if your gut is imbalanced or unhealthy, you will not be able to be healthy hormonally, right? So if you're a female, for example, in your 30s, right? And you think, well, I'm not menopausal yet, so this cannot be hormonal. And this is such an important point because a lot of women in their 30s and 40s feel like they could not be going through hormone issues because they haven't gone through menopause yet. I'm sure you've heard this before.
It's true,
right?
And some haven't had children yet either. Some have or haven't as well. You're right. Yep.
Right. So, yes, usually what happens though is in your 30s and 40s, your progesterone starts really declining. And your estrogen stays elevated. So you become in a stage of estrogen dominance, which can lead, just that entire process of estrogen dominance can lead to depression. It can lead to weight gain. It can lead to bloating. It can lead to water retention. It can lead to mood swings, insomnia, hair loss, all of those symptoms. And you think to yourself, well, gosh, I just must be depressed. And that's in fact not the case. It's not that. It is the root cause of the hormones being imbalanced. And so it's really important to really look at how we are going to distinguish between the two, right?
Yes.
Now, how do we do that? Women don't know how to do that because they go to their physicians and their physicians say, oh, well, nothing's wrong with you. Here's a prescription. Yeah. That's indeed not the case, right? We need to be testing our patients. I personally love doing saliva testing for hormones. So when you do a saliva test, if a woman is not menopausal, you want to test them around day 19 to 21 of your cycle. Okay. So you're going to look at the estrogen. So there are 3 types of estrogen in our bodies: estradiol, estriol, and estrone. 2 of them are good estrogens. 1 is a bad estrogen, and you want to keep that out of your body. Then you want to look at the progesterone, your testosterone, your DHEA, and one of the most important hormones that are never being looked at is the cortisol hormone.
The cortisol, oh my goodness.
Oh, so important, right? Because women are burning the candle on both ends. So their cortisol is completely imbalanced. So they either have very high cortisol because they're super stressed out and they're just go, 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 and your adrenal glands are trying to keep up with you, or you get to the point where you just go into adrenal fatigue and adrenal shutdown and your cortisol dives down. And in that case, most of the patients I see just can't even get out of bed. It's that bad. Yeah. So those are your sex hormones and your stress hormone. And then, of course, Leaky, thyroid. It's your master hormone that we all need to really focus on. The thyroid hormone is so vital because when you have all these hormones working together, I always tell my patients, it's like a symphony orchestra, but the master conductor of the orchestra is the thyroid, right? And how many millions of women are underdiagnosed with normal thyroid?
Yep.
Because it is within normal limits with the range, which is super broad, So you really want to really listen to your body and see, do you have any thyroid type of symptoms? Are you tired? Are you losing eyelashes and eyebrows? Are you gaining weight and inability to lose weight? Are you having sleep issues? Are you losing hair? These are your classic thyroid symptoms. So if your thyroid is not balanced, we need to be looking at all the different thyroid hormones, such as your free T3, free T4, TSH, reverse T3, and most importantly, your thyroid antibodies. I can't tell you how many women I've seen that have never had their antibodies checked. It's amazing to me.
Wow.
Because there are millions of women suffering with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, and no one has ever tested their antibodies.
Well, it's becoming quite common now these days. You hear a lot about that. And there's really...
Yes, it's very, very common. And so what's really important is, you know, we just have to tie it all back, because if you don't understand the role of the gut with hormones, you're not going to be able to treat the whole person. And the whole person is very important to treat, because our gut is one of our biggest, largest organs that can contribute to inflammation, which can then contribute to imbalanced hormones, right? So that is something that's really, really important. Now, you might ask ourselves, how does our gut bring our hormones down? Well, we've all heard of leaky gut, right? And I think you've probably talked about this on your summit enough, but just to kind of summarize it, a leaky gut is when your gut is just not retaining all the nutrients and things are leaking through, right, with the gut membrane. And when that happens, the estrogen levels are then too high and you can become estrogen dominant. Because a leaky gut does not effectively escort that aggressive estrogen metabolites out of your body. Instead, they stay in circulation and cause estrogen dominance. And estrogen dominance is sort of your enemy when you're premenopausal. Even postmenopausal, you do not want to be estrogen dominant. So that's one of the things that your leaky gut can do. The other thing is when your thyroid is imbalanced, your gut is very important, because part of your conversion of your T4 thyroid hormone into the stronger and more active T3, it actually occurs in the gut. So if your gut is unhealthy, if it's compromised, if it's inflamed, you will not be able to convert the T4 to the T3. And there are millions of women who are on T4, which is Synthroid or levothyroxine, and they're not on any T3 hormones because their physicians haven't put them on it. And if they're not converting to the T3, they have no real active thyroid hormones to work with, which is why they still are symptomatic. So that's your thyroid. Then you talk about your sleep hormones and your mood hormones. So if you think about it, over 80 to 90% of your happy hormone, the serotonin, and then your sleep hormone, which is your melatonin, they're made in your gut. And that production can go absolutely crazy when your gut is inflamed and you have leaky gut. So that's already gone into your sex hormones, your thyroid hormones, your happy hormone, and your sleep hormone. And then think about your insulin. Your insulin is very important, because the healthier your gut function, the more stable your glucose is going to be. So if it's not healthy, if it's inflamed, you're not going to have a stable insulin level. So those are very, very important, as well as the cortisol. Like I said, that's the stress hormone. And so a leaky gut can make your stress response easily triggered. And so that is very important as far as your stress hormone goes as well. And then finally, leptin. You know, leptin is what regulates, it's your appetite hormone, so to speak. And if you have an inflamed gut, you're not going to be able to regulate the leptin and signal when you're full. So then you're going to keep eating more and more. So those are very important parts of having a balanced gut. Because if your gut's not balanced, your hormones cannot be balanced.
And not only the hormones, like you said, like the whole, looking at someone as a whole person, things start to show up in your life. That's why you cover whole too, because your spirit, that wherever you're at, like that's why some people are diagnosed with depression or not diagnosed properly, and it goes for years without being detected. So I love that you mentioned the saliva test, having the bloods. And actually, if any of you have written the notes down, or, you know, you want to, you know, like Dr. Shel said, be your own advocate. Know what to ask for. And if you don't know, go and research, because I think Dr. Shel's obviously speaking from this, and I can see and go through that journey with you, obviously from your own experience too. So what a beautiful service.
Yes.
Yes.
So for me, you know, I discovered that I was estrogen dominant. I discovered my thyroid was imbalanced. I discovered that I was too high on my estrogen, too low on my progesterone, right? And my cortisol over the last several years has just been fluctuating up and down depending on what's going on in life. And that happens to most of us women because we're dealing with so much stress in life.
Absolutely.
So that's very, you know, to really know what to do. What I actually tell my patients is we take sort of an 8-step approach.
Okay.
So just like you said, Leaky, you know, the mind, the body, the spirit. So we're really looking at all 3 of those combining together, because you cannot have a healthy body if your mind is not healthy, if your soul is not healthy, if you're not taking time for yourself. So we look at the hormone balancing, stress reduction. We look at healthy eating. You know, we didn't really talk much about that yet, but healthy eating, what you put into your body is what contributes to inflammation overall. So I have most of my patients do a food sensitivity analysis. We start off with eliminating all the processed foods as well as all the triggers that they may have specifically that are specific to them. But also, if you know, if the listeners are somewhere where they don't have access to a functional medicine doctor, they can certainly get rid of at least the gluten, the dairy, the sugars, you know, get rid of those and go more on a very healthy, clean, organic, lots of fruits and vegetables and healthy fats kind of a program. When you do that, you can eliminate the inflammation. So I always start my patients with the gut. Even if they come in for hormonal imbalancing, guess where I start them? I start them with the gut. Everything starts in the gut. And if the gut is not healthy, you can't really achieve balance. And then I make sure that they get into a stress reduction, meditation, mindfulness program. I make sure they're sleeping 8 to 9 hours a night. I make sure they're hydrating with at least 80 to 100 ounces of water, not tea, not sodas, water. So it's really important that they're looking at their thyroid, their cortisol, their sex hormones, their nutrition. So I test them for nutritional deficiencies, which is very important, because so many of us are spending literally billions of dollars on nutritional supplements.
You're right. And back to your conversation about the leaky gut or the gut and the permeability of the lining, what are you actually absorbing as well? And that's where it comes down to the nutrition density conversation and the quality of the food.
Right. And so when I check my patient's nutrient levels, I'm looking at the intracellular nutritional deficiencies. So I'm looking right inside the cells. And when I do that, then I know which of the 33 vital vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants are they deficient in. So the program is very customized based on what the person's individual deficiencies are. Because there should never be a one-size-fits-all approach, even when it comes to vitamins and minerals, right?
I agree, actually. And that's partly, 1,000%. Now, you talked a little bit before we got on recording here about detox. And how you love to share a little bit of that. I'd love for you to go into that if you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank
you.
So
with detox, what I like to do is, and like I said, whenever I start my wellness program, I always like to start in the gut, because if you really talk to 100 people, I would say at least 80 to 90 of them are not eating what is appropriate for them. So I like to detox them, get them on a 14-day detox. I've created and customized a 14-day detox kit, which I personally do at least 3 times a year. And what it does is it just kind of presses that reset button, right? So it allows you to detoxify your gut, your kidney, your liver, your entire GI tract, so you can press that reset button, and thereafter, anything that you eat, any hormones that you take, your thyroid, your sleep, everything is nourishing you, rather than getting stuck in the liver or not getting flushed out by the kidneys or the gut being inflamed. So my 14-day detox is what I start my programs with, because we all need it. Even somebody like myself, and I'm relatively healthy and I eat very well, but I still detox myself at least a few times a year. So the 14-day detox is a great kit that I think anybody can access and start their program with.
No, I love that too. And it almost gets you back into the ritual of looking after yourself as well, and just resetting the body, because there's so much that we're on board. You mentioned the word stress too before. I mean, life is stressful. You know, this is a modern society. So I don't know, you know, there's a lot of stressors or not. And taking that whole approach is a great way to ritually actually start to go and look after yourself. I love that.
And I think, you know, just like you said, when life is stressful, you need something easy. So
Yes.
the kit that I put together, you know, it has 2 packs of shakes. So 2 of your meals are replaced by shakes.
Okay.
It has packs of supplements.
Yeah.
And so you just take those detoxifying supplements.
Yeah.
You eat one meal that we actually let you know exactly what are the do's and the don'ts.
Yeah.
And then you essentially substitute in with some snacks, and we let you know which snacks to substitute in with. So you're done. 2 of your meals for 14 days are covered. And it's got great recipes, it's got great ideas. And so what that does is it allows you to press that reset button and do it easily without thinking too much, without planning too much. And you're able to then, most of my patients, Leaky, without even me changing anything about their hormones, they're already feeling 50% better just after the 14 days.
I was just going to say they probably start feeling a bit better in the first 3 or 4 for sure. And then
Absolutely. And then we're motivated, because most of my patients even lose weight during the first 14 days.
Yes.
In fact, some patients have lost as much as 10 to 12 pounds.
I read that on your on a couple of testimonials on your website too. Yeah. And it's actually true. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll likely experience what you've always have, and mixing it up just resets the body, and that's what this does. And I love that you also practice that 3 times a year, and I intuitively also detox or fast whenever it's right. You know, normally by the seasons, or you just know it when you really tune with your body. You listen to it.
Exactly. And we have to listen to our body, because we are our own, you know, best advocates. So if we don't know our body, we can't expect other people to know it. So I think that start with your gut, everything else will fall into place. And then really, just to summarize, start with your gut. Make sure that you have a partner who is a practitioner, who is your advocate, you know, who listens to you as a person, who looks at you as a complete being, looks at your mind, your body, your stressors, your family life, your work life, what's really going on, and then really tests everything in detail. So looks at your thyroid in detail, not just a TSH, in detail. Looks at all your hormones in detail. Looks at your cortisol levels. 4 levels of it in the saliva 4 times a day. You can't just look at a blood cortisol level and expect to know what it's doing.
Right.
The best way to look at your cortisol level is 4 times a day to look at the circadian rhythm. And then you need them to look at your nutrients and really supplement with what is needed by you, not just the next door neighbor or the general public. You have to be very customized. So when you look at all of that and you drink good, healthy, structured water, enough of it, you meditate or experience mindfulness, you take time for yourself, you exercise in some form, you have some movement, yoga, Pilates, just movement in general, something that you love doing. Then you essentially eat healthy, you sleep 8 to 9 hours, you're going to be a different person. There is no way you're not going to live an amazing life if you do all of those things.
You are so describing the quintessential of a woman who is self-loving, vibrant, radiant, nurturing, compassionate, just what a woman is designed to be. Like that, I'm a complete fan of that. Absolutely.
And it's within reach for all of us.
Absolutely. Look, thank you so much for spending the time with us. Now, the ultimate question is, how do we get a hold of that detox and get in touch with you, or subscribe to some of your newsletters and keep in touch with you?
You bet. So certainly I'm offering a complimentary ebook about hormone sync, so they can definitely download that. They can go to drshel.com, and that's DRSHEL1L.com. And all the information is there. And the detox, there's a great website they can go to called DrShelMD.com. So that's where all the detox stuff is. But they can access it even with drshel.com. But the 14-day detox is really something that would be a great start to any wonderful wellness program. And with 2018 being here, this is such a great time that you're doing the Gut Health Summit, because this is the time we all want to take our health into our own hands. But anything that they need, we send out tons of wonderful blogs and information. I just love educating people. I love educating women, inspiring women, and anything anybody needs, I'm always here for them. So just reach out.
You're amazing. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and for you taking notes and understand there is totally hope, even if you're not feeling so great or you're feeling great and you want to just stay great. Please go and research and look at some of this information. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Shel. It was awesome. Beautiful.
Thank you for having me.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you for doing such a great job taking care. Yes, take care. Bye-bye.